What's up, guys? Game time once again. Alright, just like the Omnath video that I posted a couple days ago, this was actually a game played back in early November, and in fact I recorded an awesome 20-minute video for your viewing pleasure a couple days ago also, only to post it and find that the resultant video was cropped to the point where you couldn't see my hand. And well, the dramatic effect of these games is not the same when you can't see my hand, because I'm talking all the time about stuff that I have, and of course without a reference point it's not particularly interesting. So reluctantly, as much as I like that video, I had to shelve it, and I'm redoing it right now with a new recorder, which should not have those problems. I am up against Big McGee, Big McG, playing Numot, the Devastator, which is not a commander you see all that often, although when I see this Jeskai commander, it tends to be played in decks that are just devoted control decks that tend to just outvalue the opponent and eventually play the commander in the late game and use the land destruction ability to seal things up. I'm playing my 1v1 Nin the Pain Artist deck, which I have showcased in some other games. It's really almost identical to the multiplayer version. I think it's only 3 cards are different. It has, in place of Baral, Chief of Compliance, and Sensei's Divining Top and Strip Mine, it's running, I think, a Chrome Mox and a Braid, and I don't know, one other mystery card. Maybe I'll see it when I go and use a tutor. But the deck is basically the same effectiveness, works extremely well. And I did also mention in my Omnath video I was going to talk a little bit about the format. It's very apparent that the 1v1 Commander Online experiment has been a resounding failure. After several years of glacially amending the format with subsequent bannings, Brian Hawley, the curator of the format guide that I had talked to actually when the format was first created, extensively about the original ban list, and then bugged periodically about particular cards that needed to be removed. I went down and talked with him actually some months ago to discuss a revamp of the format, and with his feedback, Brian Hawley went back to the drawing board and pretty much reintroduced everything that had initially been banned, although the format still has a bunch of random crap banned in it, stuff that are basically just pet peeves of his and multiplayer cards like Humility and Moat, and now Wintorb, of course, which don't really make any sense in the 1v1 format context to be banned, but there you go. Anyway, but it seems to me that they are on the verge of just doing away with the 1v1 Commander Online experiment and hopefully just rolling everything back to the regular multiplayer list, which I think would be good for the long-term health of the format, at least online, because you won't have two bifurcated populations of players where both people or both types of players are struggling to find games against each other, because that's currently the status of it. You can get 1v1 Commander Online format games fairly readily, but the multiplayer list duel games are a real challenge. Sometimes you wait 3 or 4 minutes at a time to get an opponent. But this is the 1v1 Commander format in its twilight, and is an awesome game, and can't wait to get started. So let's go. In my opening hand here, I've got 2 of the 3 great pieces for an opening hand with the Nin deck: Mana Crypt and some search in the form of Brainstorm. But unfortunately, without blue mana, as good as this hand is, and God, it would be good, so good with 1 more blue mana, I can't keep it. So reluctantly, I have to mulligan into kind of a mediocre hand. This is kind of probably 30th percentile hand. It does have 2 islands at least, and an Everflowing Chalice for acceleration, and a map to get red mana, but it's slow and clunky and has practically no interaction. But probably better than a random 5, so I'm going to keep it. Big McGee keeps his end as well, and I see a Karn Liberated on top, which of course goes to the bottom. Alright, well, we'll kick it off with an Expedition map, and of course do the little fingers crossed that he doesn't have Soul Ring or Mana Crypt, which would make his deck a hell of a lot faster and more dangerous. Hallowed Fountain tapped. Alright, that's pretty innocuous. Okay, so I'm going to be faced with the challenge of whether or not I got to go deal with that beeping alarm. I'll be right back. Okay, so yeah, so on this turn, this subsequent turn, I'm going to have a choice between using the Everflowing Chalice for 1, or just sacking the Expedition map and going to fetch a red mana source. So I guess it'll depend on what I draw here. Trophy Mage. All right. Well, this is really interesting, actually. This is one of the cool interactions in the deck. It doesn't have Strip Mine in it anymore, which is sort of a universal endless land destruction loop. But Expedition map plus Wasteland and Trophy Mage to get Crucible of Worlds is a somewhat roundabout way to lock out your opponent's mana sources forever. And with him having a 3-color deck, I feel that there's a reasonable chance that I can get that going. So as much as I'd like to cast the Everflowing Chalice, I decide to just wait a turn and see what happens. If he plays a basic land here, I probably actually won't get Wasteland. I'll probably just get red. But if he plays another non-basic land, definitely going to go fetch Wasteland and go with the Trophy Mage plan to get Crucible of Worlds. So we'll see what happens. And there's a second dual land. And he taps 2 and plays a Young Pyromancer. Sort of a strange card to see in a Numot deck. I guess maybe he's got a lot of cheap spells. Oh, and there's one of them right there, Gitaxian Probe. So the gig is up. Even countering it wouldn't prevent him from getting the elemental, so I'll let it resolve. Not that I would ever muddle the mixture of Gitaxian Probe anyway, that's just silly. Okay, well, with 2 dual lands in play, I feel that I have to go with the Wasteland plan, so I'm going to sack Expedition Map. See if I can spot the other card that I may be using here. Let's see. There's a Braid. There's Chrome Mox. Oh, well, no, I thought it was Earthquake. I guess I'm not playing Earthquake in this version of it. Not terribly important. Anyway, there's one additional card that I'm using. Although it actually may just be, I think maybe Izzet Boilerworks actually in place of, yeah, it's Izzet Boilerworks in place of Strip Mine, since the Boilerworks is a lot more resilient in a format that only has a Wasteland to kill it. But I'm going to get Wasteland right now. Tap. Alright, we got this whole thing going on. In a turn, turn from now, I'm going to have Crucible of Worlds going on. Oh, or I can just draw it right now. That certainly circumvents the problem and actually gives me the ability to use the Trophy Mage to get something a lot better in the form of Vidalcan Shackles or maybe the Coalition Relic. So I'm just going to play Crucible right now. And if I were him, I'm just looking at this combo right here and going, oh man, that's so brutal. So he's got one more turn with some lands. He's going to attack for 3 here. Down comes Search for Azcanta and a Windswept Heath. That's pretty timely for him to have a fetch land there, because that means he can go get a basic plains if he wants. But that's not going to stop me from doing double Strip Mine here. So kill the Plateau, replay it, kill the Fountain. And I'm going to play Everflowing Chalice for 1 and cast a Bauble. That's a really, really nice card as well to get, because it allows me to play the Wasteland from the graveyard and ramp and get red mana as well. Alright, let's see what he does. So he searches for Azcanta, keeps the card, whatever it is. Attack for 3 again. Mox Diamond. That is super timely. I expect that he got that with his Vampiric Tutor from Azcanta. And that allows him to basically put a 3-color land into play without me being able to destroy it. And now he's representing some counter magic too, which is a little scary. Amnesia. Alright, well, that might be good later on, but that's certainly not very useful right now. I'm going to play that. And rather than playing the Trophy Mage here, I decide that I'd rather just use the Wayfarer's Bauble, and that way I can play the Trophy Mage plus back it up with Muddle the Mixture in case he does in fact have a counterspell, because right now, with this damage coming at me, I'd rather get Shackles going. Plus, I really want to search for red mana to get Nin the Pain Artist online, because that'll kill off these threats easily. Particularly the Young Pyromancer. Man, he searches for Azcanta and gets another basic land. Yuck. Alright. Still doing fine. He does nothing, so in turn, let's go get a basic mountain. And actually, at the end of the turn, because I have no more land to play this turn, I don't really see any point in not using the Wasteland, because if I mean, I guess I could untap, see what I draw first, but this at least forces him to fetch the land right now. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why I did this actually right now. There's probably no reason to do it, given that I can just replay the Wasteland. It's probably better to see what I draw. Yeah, I want to do that before he untaps, but he does in fact have a basic plan, so he's got all 3 colors, which is kind of nasty, but... Alright, an island. Well, it probably would have made the most sense to go with my Trophy Mage Muddle the Mixture plan here, and just play the island and just save the Wasteland for later on. But instead, I was just so set on that Wasteland plan and felt so clever for destroying his Windswept Heath at the end of his turn that I just instantly clicked the Wasteland and put it into play. Now I can't actually do that play, which is really frustrating. Again, if I had also played an island, I would have had the opportunity to play the Future Sight and potentially bait some counter magic as well. So big mistake right there, I think, by just impulsively clicking on the Wasteland. You see me tapping some mana and going, oh, wait a minute, so much for that whole plan. I guess I'm just going to have to take a little bit more of a beating. But I do have a lot of time, even though he is gradually grinding me with the search for Azcanta. He does not scry another card. team. No more mana for him. That's safe. So now I can make this play. So I'm going to cast my Trophy Mage. And I think tapping my mana this way was also probably wrong, because if I tap the Wasteland instead of the Mountain, then I can cast Nin the Pain Artist post-comp if he actually manages to deal with this in some way or another. And sure enough, he's got a perfect answer in the form of Spell Queller, which is so nasty because I've got the Muddle in my hand, but I can't muddle the mixture a creature. So now that's more than, it's basically doubled his clock, and it counterspelled the Trophy Mage, and I have no answer to it right now. So now I'm going to have to throw this Muddle away and go get that Abrade. And my plan now is, of course, to Abrade away the Spell Queller, get the Trophy Mage back, and then go get Shackles. Figuring he still probably can't do a whole lot. Alright, so he searches for Ascanta. I take 5. Ugh. This game was feeling so in the bag a few turns ago, and now it's starting to look a little sketchy. I still have a fair amount of life to work with. 13. That's no bueno. Now he plays a Steam Vents, which he may have had in his hand the whole time. And look at that. Gideon, ally of Zendikar, a planeswalker coming down on this board that makes 2/2 knights. And suddenly, in this game that I was certain I was basically just going to win effortlessly, I'm now facing down 7 points of pressure. I'm at 13, and he has a nasty-ass planeswalker in play. What the hell am I going to do? I'm going to top deck Rolling Earthquake. Ridiculous. I mean, he certainly had his fair share of good cards off the top, but I cannot fault my own deck for first delivering the Crucible that I was intending to tutor for, and then serving up the Rolling Earthquake exactly when I need it. This is the perfect card. And unfortunately, due to the rules change with sweepers and planeswalkers, I can no longer redirect the damage from Rolling Earthquake onto Gideon, because I would certainly cast Rolling Earthquake for 4. But I'm still very relieved to get rid of all 4 of those creatures and get the Trophy Mage back. So first things first, Wasteland away the Steam Vents. And cast Quake for 3. Color dies, gives me the Trophy Mage back. Yeah, I'm going to go get Shackles. And I kind of just impulsively grabbed the Shackles because I was kind of stuck in the mindset of grabbing one of these things before. But if I had thought about it, I think getting Coalition Relic would have made a lot more sense here, because I could have played Grim Monolith and played Coalition Relic and then untapped and been able to play both Future Sight and Abrade on the Mox Diamond, which would have been really, really nice. And I just tapped that right away to play Shackles. I think this is wrong too. Like, why am I putting... I guess I'm putting Shackles into play right now just around any potential counter magic, because I'm hoping to get some more islands. If I can get a fetch land, of course, fetch land with the Crucible will allow me to get to 2 islands quickly to be able to use Shackles to grab Gideon. And that may have been what I was thinking at the time. I played this game over 2 months ago. But in retrospect, I think getting the Coalition Relic would have made a lot more sense. Because I'm at 10, and this thing hits you for 5 damage every turn, and that is a big-ass threat. So he finally flips the Search for Ascanta. And of course, in comes Gideon. Crashing in for 5. I think I make a mistake here by not blocking. This is a classic situation where if you intend to do something, such as kill your opponent's creature, and you have to kill it, like let's say it's something like a Hypnotic Spectre, and they're tapped out, then just do it right away. There's no reason to hold off on using an instant removal during their attack step or trying to do something fancy, because that gives them another opportunity to draw a counterspell or draw some way to protect their creature, or maybe use a ninjutsu thing or whatever. And in this case, I fully intend to block Gideon and Ally of Zendikar next turn, and there's really no advantage right now since it's indestructible. It's not like I can block it with 2 things. And so I fully intended to block it next turn, which means I should block it now, because what this means is that if I'm counting on the Trophy Mage to block it next turn and he's got some kind of removal, then I've lost the opportunity to avoid taking 5, and I'm just going to die. So bad play, I think, right there. Just don't be cute. Just if you intend to block right away. Don't take an extra 5. All right, Felwar Stone. That's pretty handy. I need to ramp my mana right now. All right, I'm going to get rid of the Search for Ascanta. Good, he taps out for that. And he reveals Mana Crypt. Nasty. All right, and if he hadn't revealed Mana Crypt, if he had revealed just some clunkier spell, then that would have allowed me to... It would have changed my play. I probably would have cast Future Sight right here. But unfortunately, because he has Mana Crypt, and I really, really don't want him to get to 5 mana, that kind of forces my hand. I replay the Wasteland from the graveyard, and I have to cast Amnesia. Wow, look at that. Yeah, I mean, basically, if I give him Mana Crypt and he top decks a land, it activates all of this crazy stuff. It gives him the ability to put out a Torrential Gear Hulk. Obviously, you can play Monastery Mentor and then play the Crypt and get a creature. You can play these Goblin Dark Dwellers and I guess, I don't know, cast Serum Visions out of the graveyard. Either way, that Mana Crypt reveal was actually really, really decisive and important because it gets me to cast the Amnesia and I truck 5 cards out of his hand, which is really, really nice. Obviously not attacking. He's going back to his turn. And I am in official chump block mode until I draw some answer to Gideon, and there really aren't very many in this deck. Alright, fortunately does not have removal for my guy. So let's keep track of how many times I'm going to chump block this Gideon. That's 1. Goes back to my turn. Alright. Coalition Relic. God, so lucky to draw that. That's exactly what I need right now because I need ramp because I'm going to be on the chump block Gideon Ally of Zendikar plan for a couple of turns at a minimum while I try to dig for islands. I wish that I had enough mana to cast Future Sight, but unfortunately I'm 1 mana short of being able to go Future Sight and Nin, and because of that I just have to... First I'm going to get rid of the Mox, of course, because that's red mana, and second blue, and I'm going to play the Coalition Relic. And I would not have been able to make this play if I had not drawn a source of red mana, because the Felwar Stone doesn't currently do that. And this allows me to cast Nin the Chump Blocker. Alright. In comes Gideon again. That's Chump Block number 2. Plays an island. God, a basic island off the top. So lucky. Alright, Spell Pierce. That is not too useful. Although it does give me a little bit of wiggle room as far as defending my plays here. And may buy me enough time to get that Future Sight landed. If I can just draw another creature that doesn't cost 4. And there are a few left in the deck. Alright, Felwar Stone. It's not bad. Unfortunately, still a little bit short of being able to play Nin and untap the Grim Monolith or cast the Future Sight and Nin in the same turn. And now I've kind of fallen into a hole here because Nin's going to cost 6 and I'm running out of time. In comes Gideon again. Chump block number 3. And that costs 6. At least I can get 2 mana out of the relic. Alright, untap. Come on, baby. Preordain. Alright, not bad. Blue mana. It's going to allow me to dig a little further. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got enough to block with Nin 2 more times if necessary. I'm going to cast Preordain first. And look at that. Right on top is Trinket Mage, the sub 4 mana creature that I needed. In fact, it's even cheaper than that, due to the fact that it actually only really costs 1, well, I guess 2 blue mana. 2 mana because it's going to go get a Soul Ring. And getting the Soul Ring not only allows me to get Future Sight into play, but I still have the Spell Pierce to defend. And there's a Factor Fiction on top. That is so good. Alright. In comes the Gideon again. Chump block number 4. It's saving me 20 damage now. Crazy. He plays Bloodstained Mire. I'm going to charge it on the turn, even though it's a bit of a risk. I don't feel there's enough stuff that he could do right now that I can't afford not to charge. All right. During upkeep, of course, no question I'm casting Factor Fiction here. Revealing a Dissolve on top. And the 5 cards are Rebuttal, Brainstorm, Dissolve, Island, Mox. If you were him, how would you split this? Give you a couple seconds to think about it. Alright, well, from my perspective, what I really, really want is that Brainstorm. The counterspells don't really do me any good. I feel the Spell Pierce is almost as good as anything against him right now. I really just need to dig deep because even though I have Future Sight in play, I don't have an answer to the Ally of Zendikar. And I am going to get a draw step at least. So the Brainstorm will dig me even further into the deck. So he moves around like this. I think this is a decent split. I think maybe I would have put the Island with the counterspells given how important Brainstorm is and how useless the counters are. So I'm happy to take the 3-card split. There's an Island on top, which I draw. There's a Boilerworks. I'm gonna add blue. And before I even play the Boilerworks, I'm just going to Brainstorm. 3 cards are Manifold, Signet, and Boilerworks, and look at that, right on top. Luscious Cryptic Command. So I'm just going to throw some artifacts back on top that I can cast trivially. Alright, play the Mox. I throw in Island here. I think that's a mistake. I think I should have just thrown away the Boilerworks. There was no reason to do that. And by throwing away an Island, I actually introduced this problem of not having 5 islands for Shackles. So I kind of kicked myself after I did that. I certainly made my fair share of, I think, minor misplays this game. few things here and there, but they can often make the difference between winning or losing the game. But I can trivially cast this Mana Vault, and there is Cryptic Command sitting on top, and I am not going to even hesitate here. Just cast it to bounce Gideon and get it out of my face for good. Oh, crisis averted. That not only draws a card, but it puts a Metamorph on top, which is super nice. So I can pay the blue mana, tap my Vault, Metamorph, copying a Relic, and now there's another bounce spell on top. I've got my Spell Pierce still to protect from shenanigans, like Vandal Blast, for example. And it goes back to Mr. B. McGee's turn. And seeing basically an impossible board state, he can't even recast the Gideon, and it's just a matter of time now, I think, before the future sight digs me to victory. He packs it in, having jump blocked his rampaging Planeswalker a total of 4 times and saving myself 20 damage. I thought this was a really awesome game. Honestly, I was very impressed by how well his deck performed, given that he was facing the Wasteland Strip Mine lock so early in the game, and he managed to put up a hell of a fight and get me down to, single-digit life total, threatening lethal, and pretty much forcing me to get really, really lucky with top decks consecutively, which I managed to do, and then eventually getting that future sight in play sealed the deal. But I thought this was an awesome game, just demonstrating, I don't know, how you can struggle against somewhat innocuous cards, particularly if your mana base doesn't really come together early. And watching the sequence of chump blocking plays I thought was really cool. Anyway, guys, I've got another set of good games to record. I just played a game this evening, actually, that was phenomenal against that new blue-black commander with my Brea deck. And unfortunately, the replay did not cooperate, which is I've come to expect. But I do have some other games on my games to record list, and I'll try to get those in the next couple days. See you then. Take care.